Panicle hydrangeas bloom on new growth only, so we may cut them back pretty far. Only a couple of feet need to be left for structure so that they do not flop over the following year. All dead growth should be removed, as well as any crossing or rubbing canes. When your hydrangea is completed, it should stand about 2 feet tall. The first step to pruning endless summer hydrangea is to thin out the weak canes at the base of the plant. Then to cut all inward-facing growth and any dead wood as well. After all the deadwooding and thinning cuts have been made down to the base of the plant, we may begin our heading cuts or top cuts. Although endless summer hydrangea can bloom on new growth, those blooms show late in the summer. The blooms that show earlier in the summer are from growth that happened the previous year. Buds should still be cut back as little as possible to preserve early blooming buds. Thinning cuts are so important because it allows the maximum amount of sunlight to get to the inside buds of the plant, creating more blooms for next year. They also allow great air circulation, which prevents a lot of fungus from developing. Wisteria should be pruned almost back to the main canes, leaving only a few buds to the base of the trunk. Any thick, healthy growth should be saved and tied into the lattice, pergola, or other structure. Removal of any dead, crossing, or rotting canes should be done at this time. Retying and tightening to the structures should also be addressed in this visit. Nepeta may be cut to the ground with shears or pruners, but please leave at least ½ inch to an inch of growth at the base to protect the buds underneath. Lady's mantle should also be cut in a similar way to Nepeta, being very careful of the buds underneath the soil. Perennial geraniums may be cut to the ground as well, but please use pruners because they are more gentle on the plant. Shears or hedge trimmers may be used when cutting ornamental grasses, but please use caution not to cut below the root mound, usually about 8 inches off the ground. Cut daylilies back with shears or pruners to 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the soil line. When pruning Gora back in the fall, simply cut the plant by half, leaving at least 8 inches of growth above the soil line. Use pruners when cutting sedum and cut at the base. Still leave ½ inch to 1 inch of growth. Use caution when pruning an anemone. Leave 1 to 2 inches at the base and use pruners, not shears, as shears can tear the plant. Prune vitex and buddleia shrubs similarly to how you would prune a panicle hydrangea, featured earlier in this video. Remove all crossing and rubbing branches, all thin canes, and cut back to the last cut. Annabelle hydrangea should be pruned to 1.5 feet tall. This will prevent any flopping during next season that might occur. Annabelle hydrangea bloom on new growth only.